Welcome to Alpha Wolf Impact Club channel. I'm Tim Weintraut, and this is where we shine a light on small companies with big ideas. Our mission here is crystal clear. We want to identify, support, and champion game changers. Those companies that are tackling massive challenges, revolutionizing industries, saving lives, or making us more efficient. Today we have CEO Desmond Wheatley of Beem Global. Beem is a sustainable technology innovation company. They are made in America, patented products for electrification of transportation, energy resiliency, and smart city infrastructure. Fastest deployed, most scalable, and most robust EV charging infrastructure products. This company has come a long way in the last several years. They are now in 23 nations international, and they are without question an impact company. But I'm going to let Desmond tell you more about that in just a moment. This is not to be taken as investment advice. I am not a certified financial planner. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. I encourage everyone to do their own due diligence. Hey everybody, Tim from Alpha Wolf Capital coming at you with a follow-up to one of my favorite stories, and this is really tough. It's really tough to nail this guy down because you're traveling all over the globe. But recently, the stock has actually shown some strength, and I think it's probably a good time because you've had, I can't even remember all the announcements that you've had. You've had a lot, Dubai, patents, all kinds of stuff going on. This Desmond Wheatley from Beem Global, and Desmond, how you doing, man?
I'm okay. It's always a pleasure to see you, Tim. How are things with you?
A little on the busy side.
Yeah, well, I think we have that in common.
Yeah. So look, it's nice to see that the stock has kind of recovered a little bit. It looks like you put in a double bottom, and you're actually right at an area of resistance. It's this is not by accident. Technically, that's what you're coming up against. But you've had a lot of developments. Even I think you've got an event coming up for grants and stuff from the federal government, right? I mean, don't
Yep,
you
yeah,
have?
we do. We do. We're one of the things that we do is we train prospective and current customers on how to access funding that's available to them, whether that's federal or state or municipal. So we do these open webinars. They're very, very well attended. Customers love it, and it's great for us and for our shareholders because it gives us an opportunity to essentially reduce capital out of pocket for customers. And the good news is, more often than not, they don't spend less; they just buy more product from us, and that's ultimately what we're after.
Right, right. All right, so let's talk. Let's for those that aren't familiar with the Beam Global story, give them a real quick. This is what we do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
go ahead.
yeah, I mean, look, we're San Diego based, San Diego headquartered sustainable technology innovation company. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but just what that means is we invent, we engineer, we patent, we design, and then we actually manufacture a suite of products which have several things in common with them. They're sustainable, they're very secure energy, they don't rely on the utility grid for their sources of electricity, so we can provide power to our biggest customer, the US Army, for example, during hurricanes, blackouts, that sort of stuff. Products are hurricane proof, flood proof to 9 feet. So it's a very secure source of energy for a whole variety of applications. We concentrate on three main things: electrification of transportation. Frankly, that's not the most vibrant area in the United States at the moment, but globally it is. The growth is absolutely fantastic globally, and we've made some fantastic international expansion moves where that's concerned, and it will come back in the United States. It's an inevitability. And actually, there's still some very exciting areas of electrification of transportation, even in the US. US right now, which we can talk about in a minute. Second area that we go after is energy security, by which we simply mean a more reliable source of electricity than that which you get from the utility grid. As I already mentioned, that's prone to blackouts and brownouts, particularly in the severe weather that we're seeing nowadays. It doesn't matter what you think the reasons behind that are. We're seeing a lot of flooding, we're seeing a lot of strong winds and all that, and we're seeing a lot of power grids going down. And as a result of that, our products continue to provide vital electricity during those sorts of events. And then the third leg of our three-legged stool, if you like, is loosely termed smart cities infrastructure, but I'll tell you what we mean by it. We're just adding intelligence and data gathering to the type of built infrastructure that we're putting out into the built environment. And because we generate and store our own electricity, our data gathering and our ability to share that data isn't prone to the kind of centralized failures that you get when you're connected to the grid or to some kind of hardwired infrastructure. And that, frankly, is very meaningful. That's a big part of the reason that we have the types of customers that we do. Just a couple of things on that. We make our own batteries in Chicago. We've got some really cool battery technology in Chicago, and we sell to, well, we use our own batteries in our own products. We also sell to a lot of people that we can talk about, but more interesting than that is we sell to people who we're not allowed to talk about, and I'm really excited about that. We're putting batteries into some mission critical applications that are top secret, and I'm proud of that because I think those missions are important, but it's also a fantastic opportunity for us because you want to talk about accelerated learning and accelerated development of technology. You can see the patents that we're coming out with as a result of that. And then, as I say, these international expansion things are something I hope we get a chance to talk about here in the next couple of minutes.
So the international expansion, we actually just kind of talked about it before we hopped on, and I said, and I still believe this to this day, your acquisition of the company that you picked up in Serbia, I thought was one of the best acquisitions, synergistic acquisitions I had ever seen in my life. And I've been around
Thank
for a
you.
while.
Thank
So
you.
I was so impressed with what you walked out of there with. You walked out of there with a company that had no debt, that had been building street light posts for 30 plus years, that had customers in 17 nations.
Yeah.
What is it, 6 or 7 acres worth of land,
Yeah.
all kinds of equipment. And I mean, I'm talking some, sand, big benders, expensive equipment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Millions and millions of dollars worth of stuff.
millions of dollars worth, and then the trucks, the everything, and then an engineering staff. I just thought it was an amazing acquisition. And then you've proven that in my mind because for the longest time you had one product, which was the EV Arc.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden,
In one
after,
market.
yeah, right. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 you've got 5 products,
Yep.
right?
And they're all very worthy, and they were all driven by customer requirements. And we're now not in one market; we're now in 23 nations globally. It's just, yeah, it's been phenomenal. It has been phenomenal. In fact, as you could put our improvements in our business next to our stock chart and get a basic mirror bloody image out of it. They say no good deed goes unpunished. We've grown this company, we've expanded internationally, we've increased our product portfolio, we've increased our IP portfolio, and again, we don't get patents on products that people don't care about. All the products that we make that are patented are making money. And the barrier to entry that we've created with that type of IP has been important too. So yeah, it's been a very active time. And you're right. I'm a little hard to get hold of because I spend my life on airplanes. I'm back in the Middle East and Europe again in 2 weeks.
Right. I
You
mean,
know,
you have got but let's face facts. If you hadn't made that acquisition, I think Beam would have been in a lot of trouble because of what's currently happening.
40% of our second quarter revenues came from our international expansion. We previously did a lot of revenue with the federal government. That stopped with the new administration where EVs and renewables are concerned. That's okay. You can either be you can either let shit happen or you can make shit happen. And we're the make shit happen business. So if things are going to slow down in the US a little bit for a while, no problem. I'm expanding in the largest market in the world for our products, which is the broad broader Europe. And then I just announced an expansion into the Middle East as well, where they're going to spend $1 trillion over the next decade on sustainability, electric vehicles, and everything. I spent a lot of time over there, and I tell you, you will see a lot of electric vehicles. You're going to see us doing some tremendous stuff over there. We're partnered with, I mean, with the Platinum Group, which is chaired by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed Sultan bin Khalifa Al Nahyan. Now there are a lot of sheikhs over there, but not like this one. He's royal family. He's at the top of the pyramid. So we're very well positioned to do well. And one thing I know you've spotted. A lot of people don't, look for this kind of stuff. But one thing I know you've spotted is we've done this type of expansion, and we have not spent a lot of money doing it. Our discipline with cash is incredible. We have no debt. We have a very small number of shares outstanding because my discipline with equity is the same as I don't separate those two things. Equity and cash are the same to me. And so if you look at it, we've gone from that one product, one market company to being a multi-product, 23 product in 23 nations. We've got facilities in San Diego and Chicago and in Belgrade and Craiova and now in Abu Dhabi in the Middle East. And we're no debt, no massive amount of shares outstanding, no horribly
How
dilutive
many
financings
shares
or
are
anything else
there
like that.
outstanding, fully diluted?
We're at 16 million. And you compare that. I've got my internal IR guy put a graph together the other day to show us versus 15 of our peers. Okay. And the thing is, the graph kind of sucks. And you know why it does? Because you can't see Beam on it. The beam line, because everybody else has got 100 million or 200 or 500 million or whatever, and we're down here with 16 million. You can't even, the printer will not put the line on the paper, you know. Okay. Why is that important? Because in the future, this is all about EPS, right? I'm an old-fashioned guy, and at the end of the day, we have a hell of a lot less S into which to divide our E than anybody else does, any of our peers do. So that's important to me. I don't get recognized for that. I don't get any love for that. But in my marrow, in my bone marrow, I know that playing the long-term game, building a quality company, being careful with money and being careful with equity will pay us back and pay our shareholders back in dividends.
Yeah. Look, we're going through a weird thing here. I hate politicians in general. Bottom line is, we seem to go from one
Why?
we go from one extreme to another extreme,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that to me is so stupid because
yeah.
electric vehicles aren't going to go away.
No,
The need for emergency responder power isn't going to go away.
no.
There are opportunities, I think, with your product beyond, and you just said it, data. There's a whole lot of things that people just aren't looking at that you do extremely well. You literally provide power in an hour. You drop
Yeah,
it off. It's
yeah.
right. I mean, and it's ready to go
An,
away.
an hour later,
Yeah.
you've got an hour later, you've got e-mobility, you've got power. By the way, I will later this month, I will be in Jordan with the Royal Jordanian Armed Forces with our Beamwell product. Now, in that instance, in an hour, you've got electricity, you've got mobility, and you have fresh water.
Right.
We have desalination built into this product, and we're taking salt, brackish, and dirty water, and we're turning it into fresh water. Fingers crossed, this peace agreement continues in Gaza. We will immediately start moving that product into Gaza with the Royal Jordanian Armed Forces to provide electricity, fresh water, and mobility to start the rebuilding effort there. I'm very proud of that too. So yes, and again, this is not. You're right. This is not politics. People think, I tell people all the time, we have a lot more in common with the current administration than they think we do. We believe in energy security. We believe in a made in American product. We believe in not relying on foreign resources, for things that are important, right? I believe in short supply chains. All of these things are very much in common. And in fact, I was on the phone with the Department of Homeland Security just the other day. We're not fighting with them at all.
Right.
Yes, the headline stuff, the political rhetoric, EV, solar, and renewables and all that sort of stuff, that's all talk to me. At the end of the day, an electron is an electron. And if I can make it more reliably and less expensively than the next guy can, no consumer says, oh, I'm not turning my lights on if that came from solar. They're just saying they better turn on when I want them to. And we make
Right.
sure they do.
Yep. I mean, look, you've got a couple of products that I think are pretty cool. I don't think that I think they will catch on, especially in like tourist towns, and I think that beam bike thing is going to be a hit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I think there's look, if somebody wants to get a little creative with a business, I think that could be a really good business in certain areas, right?
You're going to see us bringing in recurring revenue streams that we've never had before from this.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the other thing. If you look at our history, all of our revenues came from selling product, and it's one product in one market. We've now got multiple products. We're going to continue to sell them, but we've also got, yes, these new business models where we're getting recurring revenue from. We've got a sponsorship model working now in Europe. We're getting recurring revenue from that.
I wanted to
Beam
ask you
Bike,
about that. Tell
yeah.
the sponsorship thing. This was one that you you've been talking about for years, and I wasn't sure if you were ever going to be able to pull it off, but you did pull it off in
You did both.
yeah.
And we're getting recurring revenue, and it's thank you, it's nice margin. And what's great is the host is delighted, the sponsor is delighted, and so are the people who are using the product delighted. Everybody's very happy, and the usage charts are fantastic. It's been just a total. It's what I, as you know, it's quite difficult to put a deal together where everybody wins. It really is. There's no loser out of this, right? And the truth of the matter is that's what we have there. Everybody is very happy with that deal, and you bet you we're
Tell
gonna
everybody what that deal is. It's the
yeah,
airport,
so we
right?
yeah, so we deployed. If you can see me, we deployed this product, our EV ARC product, at a major international airport. We deployed in a parking lot where there is no power. They desperately needed EV charging in that parking lot, but they couldn't get the power there. We made the solar lights for that parking lot. We made lighting for them because they couldn't get power out to it. But anyway, we deployed these things there and cost the airport nothing. The people who go to the airport, they pay for parking. It's in the premium parking. They still pay for that. The airport still gets revenue from all that, but they don't pay to charge their electric vehicle where they get there. It's free. They get to drive on sunshine for free. Okay, well, I'm not running the Red Cross. This is not a charity, so where the hell's the money coming from? Well, the fact is it's being sponsored by the fastest growing insurance company in the region, Globus Insurance. They pay us a monthly fee so they can put their name and branding all over the thing. And that's a very good business model. Very good business model. Now, it just so happens that the airport that we're in is run by the Vinci Group. Vinci is the second largest airport operator in the world, 17 international airports around the world, including in the United
17.
States.
17.
Seven, no, one seven
Oh,
international.
17. Okay.
Yeah, big ones. They've got others as well, and it's been a big success. So we intend to expand this program. But there are lots of other opportunities for it as well. That's a recurring revenue stream. But Beam Bike, yes, certainly another opportunity for us. We can do these electric bike sharing in a way that nobody else can because we have no construction, no electrical work, we pay no utility bill, and in most instances, because of the amenity value that we add, we don't have to pay any rent either. So all the revenue that comes in is just basically incremental recurring revenue for us. That again, these are things that we were never able to do before, but we are able to do them now, and we're going to do them. So, as I say, listen, North America, electric vehicle charging infrastructure, renewables, maybe not the best time, particularly not for a company like us. Remember, Tim, that we had a couple of years where more than 50%, and in some cases 80 or 90% of our revenues came from big, large federal orders. Those have all gone away,
Right.
totally gone away. And so as I said, you can let shit happen to you, or you can make shit happen. And so what we've done is we've gone out, we said, all right, that's fine. That's what running a business is. You got to be dynamic. You've got to move. You got to shake. You got to make decisions. You can't let stuff happen to you. And so we've gone out. 60% of our revenues come from commercial opportunities in the first half of this year. 60%, up from zero. 30, almost 40% from our international expansion, up from zero. And then all these new products that we're bringing to market now that we haven't even started to see the benefit from in terms of moving the needle. That's us moving into 2026 with these things now. It's a whole new pattern for us. And the best part of all of it is, as you said, electric vehicles are not going away. This US market comes back to us, and when it comes back to us, it comes back to us with far more urgency than we were seeing in 2024. Why? Because we'll be 4 years later, and people will need infrastructure that much faster. The grid will be that much further behind because we haven't invested in the charging infrastructure and all those other things like that. Urgency is our favorite word because, my friend, I deploy these things in an hour where it takes 2 years to do it if you're going to connect to the grid.
And what do we have going on right now? The two hottest sectors. are AI and power generation,
Yes.
right? So you're
Yeah.
building these data centers that consume the grid is not prepared for all,
Nowhere near.
right?
Nowhere near.
So
And that's a
so
global story.
it's a
That's a
right,
global
it's a
story
global story, and you have a product that
that works anywhere in the world.
right and that you can
Yeah.
deploy. And this is what I'm saying. Look, maybe right now it's not the hottest thing because of the current administration, but if you look beyond, say this company is now expanded globally, right? So you're not as reliant on the U.S. as you were. It's going to come
I'm
back
no longer reliant on it. I'm no longer reliant on it. Yeah.
at all. So you
No.
look at it, you say, okay, wait a minute. This this company was doing pretty damn well at in the U.S. with one product. You now have five products. You're
Yeah.
international. The timeline to when it's supposed to go to all electrification. I mean, look, I don't know what's going to happen in 3 years from now. Maybe it goes back to the other party, and that just means everything's all green again. And look, it's going to go all over the place, right? I don't know why we can't just use logic and come to a happy medium somewhere in the middle. That would be really cool if we could do that. But it is going to push that sense of urgency, and I don't know of anybody else that's going to be able to deploy the to fill the need the way that you can deploy. I don't see anybody else that can do that.
Look, I want to make a couple of things clear. First of all, we are still an American company. We're very proud of that. This country's been good to me, and I've been good back to it. I've created a lot of wealth here. I've paid a lot of taxes, and I've hired a lot of people here. And I love the United States of America, and we're still doing a lot of business here. And we're not turning our back on the United States at all. But I have a responsibility to my shareholders, and my responsibility to my shareholders is create return. And so I cannot obviously not expand internationally and go and do the other things that I have to do to make sure that this company continues to thrive if we see some lull in this market for a little while. But you're absolutely right. There is an inevitability about this. And the great thing is, you know what? It doesn't matter what party gets in next time. This is going to happen anyway for a couple of reasons. First of all, the most powerful force in human history will make it happen, and that's the US consumer. When the US consumer wants something, get out of their way, okay, because they are going to get it, and they are going to drive for electric vehicles. There's no question about that. Beyond that, don't forget the automotive companies are going to make nothing but electric vehicles anyway, because the rest of the world's electrifying, and they can't profitably make internal combustion engines for one market and make electric vehicles for the rest of the world. BYD sales, a Chinese electric manufacturer, BYD sales in the United Kingdom up 888% this year. Okay. I mean, it's phenomenal what you're seeing the growth. It's one of the things that saddens me the most, actually, Tim, about all this, about the partisanship about all of this stuff, is that what we're seeing now is that the Chinese are just going crazy with this stuff. Their cars are selling like hotcakes, and we can no longer say that these things are just junk. I was in Abu Dhabi recently, and I had to take a car from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, and I just pulled up Uber. Sent over a car for me. I drove from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, an hour driving through the desert at 100 miles an hour in total comfort, surrounded by fantastic technology. BYD. Okay, that saddens me. I don't want to see us losing that leadership position. But at the end of the day, my responsibility is to the shareholders, and I'm going to keep building this business, and it will come back in the United States. And again, to be clear, it's only the federal piece that we're missing. We're still doing a good job selling to states, municipalities, and because our commercial business has gone up to 60%, you can see that we're selling to lots of other people as well. The consumer does not yet know what the feds are trying to tell them, that these things are bad. They still want them, right? You know, and so we're producing for them. We're going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
One thing else I want to point out, that Middle East acquisition or expansion, actually. I'm very interested in the Middle East because of that $1 trillion they're going to spend in the next decade. But you know what else I'm interested in? I'm
Mm.
interested in Africa. Africa, think about Africa for a minute. Africa never used landlines. There was never a mass adoption of landlines. You know, I spent time when I was a young man, when I was at sea, going to ports in Africa and all that sort of stuff. You had to go to a special building and wait for an hour before you could get a telephone call out to, anywhere, right? That's how things work. Everyone in Africa is walking around with a cell phone in their hand now. You will not see mass adoption of internal combustion engines, vehicles, diesel and gasoline. You will not see consumer adoption of those vehicles in Africa. You will see them all drive electric vehicles. Okay, that's going to happen. You will see electrification of Africa happening in the next couple of decades, but they have no central, not none, but they have from a materially Western point of view, they have no centralized infrastructure. They don't have the generating facilities. They don't have transmission. They don't have distribution, all the substation, all that sort of stuff, and they won't ever build it. They'll do the same thing. They won't have landlines. They went to cell phones. The Africans will rely on a highly distributed energy generation and distribution infrastructure. Electricity generated much closer to load and with very little of the transmission and distribution infrastructure that the West has spent 100 years relying on. Okay. Our products are ideal for that massive market. Unless any of your listeners are thinking there's no money in Africa, do not believe that for 1 second. There's a massive amount of money in Africa. Most of it's spent poorly, but between the money they have themselves, a very, very commodity-rich part of the world, and also just money that comes in from Europe and from China and all that sort of stuff, there's plenty of money in Africa. And we intend to use our Middle Eastern operations as a bridgehead to get into that market moving forward. So I'm not talking next month. I'm not talking next quarter. I'm saying that we're building a company that is going to provide infrastructure products for massive markets. And we're doing it with patented products that have really no direct competition. And we're in it for the long run, and we mean to do this right. And we are doing it right. We are
No,
doing
you
it
are
right.
right. You are doing it right. You're absolutely right. I just think that the market is, and I understand part of, look, Wall Street, and you and I talked about this before we hopped on. These guys have to beat the S&P, right? The fund managers have got to beat the S&P 500, and the bottom line is they can't afford to sit in a stock if they think it's not going to go anywhere for a little bit, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
but if you're a patient individual, this is where retail investors actually have the edge, and they don't recognize that.
That's true.
The edge
If they
is,
take advantage of it, yeah.
yes, you don't have to be concerned. Look, if you find a company that you think, and I don't know if you noticed the rebranding here. I'm not Alpha Wolf Trading. I never really was. I was never a trader. I
Right.
am an investor. And what I look for now is companies that are going to have a positive impact on humanity.
Mhm.
Because in my head, if I can help a company go from being a little company to a very profitable large corporation, I have positively impacted a lot of lives just with that,
Yeah.
just helping that
Yeah.
company. But if that
Yeah.
company happens to do things that are good for the world, good
Yeah.
for the environment,
Yeah.
uh, make us more efficient, keep us safe,
Yeah.
provide water, clean water.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is how many lives are you positively impacting, right?
We're
This is
doing
a
all of the
company
above.
that you can feel good about getting behind. And then
Yeah.
how can people help the company? Whatever industry you're in, if you could use some beam spots, or you could use an arc, or if you could use, there's all kinds of ways to help a company. When there's a groundswell of support behind a company, numbers, there's strength in numbers.
Yes.
Reddit proved that with
Yeah.
AMC and GameStop. And
Yeah.
those are
Yeah.
two terrible companies that don't do anything for humanity, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they're
Yeah.
this is a company that is making products that are good for humanity. That's
Yeah.
how you have to, so you can feel good about supporting this company and helping them succeed. And then because you're invested in the company too, and I think anybody could, buy the stock here, then your portfolio benefits as well. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win-win
And
for
so do our
everybody.
customers because the economics are really powerful behind our products too. I mean, nobody buys our products because they're expensive or they don't work, right? They people buying our products because we're bringing a tremendous amount of value to whatever their mission is. It's as simple as that. So yes, you're absolutely right. Listen, I have a couple of kids. They're older now, but during the last 15 years that I've been doing this, I've been able to go home and say, Daddy had a good day. That means Beam had a good day. That means California had a good day. That means the United States had a good day. That means the planet had a good day, right? How many times do you get to do that in life, right?
Yep.
It is a good thing to do, and it means our investors had a good day, and it means our customers had a good day too.
So
And
here's
that's
something else about Desmond that people should know. You're very active with hiring veterans,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, these are the things that I look for that are the intangibles of why I want to support a company, right? You're passionate. You've been passionate about this industry since the day I met you, and you haven't lost any of it. I mean, I talk to you and I'm like amped up just off of you because of how excited you are, right? And it's
I
you
love
haven't
what we're
changed.
doing. I love what
I
we
know
had a
you.
cookout. We had a cookout today. We had a cookout today to because one of our employees had a kind of a milestone in his life to celebrate. So we had a barbecue today, and I do a kind of all hands on deck, talk while I'm out there, just letting them know what we're up to, showed them off some fun new stuff we're working on, gave them the international updates because I'm in San Diego at the moment. Gave them the international updates and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of it, give yourself a round of applause, guys. I love you, and I mean I do. I love the team here. I love what we do. I love our products. I love the impact of our products. And I'm proud of it. I'm genuinely proud of it. Our share price sucks. Okay, and I take a lot of flack for that. It's great. I've been called every name under the sun, and the destroyer of value, the thief, the moron, and everything else like that. And it's funny how often they say this company's got great technology and make great products and all that stuff, but this guy's the worst CEO that ever walked the face of the planet. I invented the damn products, but I'm the worst, and the dumbest guy they've ever met. It's okay. It's okay because we are building a fantastic business. We're doing it with a great deal of discipline, and we will be rewarded. And our shareholders will be rewarded for this as well. Because
And
my belief,
I wholeheartedly believe that,
yeah,
right? The stock has gone, I don't know, people can take a look, but at one time it was up to like $74 a share, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that was on smoke. I was in the
yes,
stock then. I
yeah.
had a nice, did I hold it to 74? No, I'm an idiot. I sold way too early. But it did go on an unbelievable run, and that was on smoke.
It was a bubble.
You have built a multi-nation company brand that
Mhm.
is establishing itself. Maybe it's not getting the kind of revenue growth that everybody wants to see. If people have ever ran their own business, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, right? But you are putting the all of the foundation. The foundation is poured, right? Now it's a matter of just building, and it's
But
happening.
by the way, we did do the revenue. I mean, look in 2020 we did 6 million in revenue. 2021 9, 2022 22 million, and 2023 just under 70 million. We've shown
Yep.
that we can grow revenue. Here. Listen, I'll take full responsibility for this. What I didn't see happening was the election, and we were on this incredible growth trajectory. And listen, when you have customers like the U.S. Army telling you we need more and more and more, you gear up your company to service that customer. Okay.
Yep.
And that's what we did. We geared up our company to service that customer. And then, bam, like that light switched off. And as I said earlier, so what are you going to do about that? Well, you can cry, you can put your face in your hands and you can cry, or you can say, hang on, we still have great products, we still have great IP. We've geared ourselves up for this one type of channel, but we just now need to say, stop, everybody, start looking for other opportunities. And that's what we've done. So yeah, yes, we flattened out in revenue, but you're going to see us now because that was back then. I didn't have any of these other markets. I didn't have any of these other products to get into. Now we do. And our sales guys, by the way, we just hired a new sales guy, and he's like, I can't believe it. I've got these multiple products. I can talk to a customer, and now it's like if I'm not winning on this thing, I could say, well, how about that? Because you talk to someone, they might not want to do EV charging, but they do want to do beam bike. They might not want to do beam bike, but they've got like you're talking to border patrol. They don't want to do beam bike, but they do want to do beam patrol. Okay,
Right.
I'm in an airport. I don't want to do EV art, but I do want to do beam spot. We've got these. very much more choice. All of them have a lot of value to add to them. And we didn't have any of those things when we did that growth before. So yes, okay, my mea culpa, no question about it. I put all our eggs, not all our eggs in that basket, but I put a lot of our eggs in that basket, and I do it again because they were asking for product and we were delivering it to them. Okay.
Yep.
Now we're going to be a lot more diverse, though. That's the great thing. So the next time something like that hits, it like we have a huge win in the Middle East or something like that. Okay, but that's not our full business. We've still got US, we've still got Europe, we've still got all these other things. So we're a lot more diverse. And as you know, with diversity, you get stability. It's like a pyramid. We've got, like you said, the foundation's in place. We've got much more going on in the foundation before. We were like that before. Now we're like
Yes.
that,
Yes.
and that just gives us a hell of a lot more stability.
And you've got also third party distributors, right? And
That's
you
the other
man,
big thing we've added. Yeah. Started to add third-party distribution, and we now have a tech stack and a training stack and a collateral stack that we never had before either. It's unbelievable. One of the things that's been great about bringing in this new sales guy, we now have Beam University. We bring in a person. We don't need to train them. We can put them down in front of a computer. They get all the videos, all the collateral, all the training. And the guy said to me, "This is the best." He's worked for a lot of different good companies, and he said to me, "This is the best training stack I've ever seen. It's fantastic." And we developed it in-house, and it's going to get better. In fact, I just met with him before I talked to you, and I said to him, "I'm glad you're here. What I want you to do is I want you to identify all the gaps. Is there anything we've missed in the training? Is there anything you had to learn from somebody else? Tell us what it is. Goes in the training, right?"
right? Yeah.
It's
Look, Desmond, you're on the right. I know everybody busts I get a lot of heat because they think because I'm so nice to you that I don't know, I'm paid for advertising or paid for promotion. I'm not. I do this for
no,
free. Bottom line is, I support this company because of exactly what I said. I want to have an impact on humanity in a positive way. I think this company is one of those companies that does that, and that's why I support you. So I
thank you.
think you're doing the right things. You've been fortunate. Uh, I almost think it's like you were clairvoyant in some ways because you made the move that you made in Serbia. It was a brilliant move. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It was a strategic, brilliant move, and it
Thank
has
you.
enabled you to expand into those 23 nations.
That's right.
And sales are going to come from those 23 nations,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
going to happen. So,
Macro story hasn't changed at all. We're hitting it with the right type of weapons. I mean, we're on target. We have the right weapons. We have great IP. We have good patent, good protection. Yeah, I mean, about I those international expansion moves. I did those pure growth in my head. I'm aggressive. I want a lot of growth. Right now, it looks a little bit like defense as well. But the thing is, it will end up being both. Because as I say, we've created opportunities now where we are no longer reliant on this market, but this market will be huge for us too.
of course,
We're not turning our backs on anything.
the 2035, it was 2035, wasn't that the deal that everybody's going to all electric by 2035?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that just means, like you said, you're going to be 4 years now behind,
yes,
right? China's not slowing down.
no.
Europe's not slowing
On the
down.
contrary, they're accelerating. Yeah,
They're not slowing down. So we're
yeah,
just going to push ourselves further behind.
yeah,
And then we're going to have this infrastructure that we still have to build out,
yeah.
and there's less time to do it in.
That's right. Yeah.
So that at some
I,
point, I think is going to benefit you in a very big way. So,
Urgency is our
oh,
favorite word.
the other thing I wanted to point out, the fast charging EV arcs, right? That was always a thing. Oh, the only
Yep.
trickle charge.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you also have fast charging.
We now have DC fast charging as well. And you'll notice that one of the recent patents that we just got, we've just figured out how to make batteries charge faster, hold more energy, and charge in more dynamic environments. Batteries don't like charging below 0 degrees Celsius. They don't like charging above 55 degrees Celsius. We have just released a new patent right now, which allows us to broaden that envelope. Go into that gets us into more dynamic markets, makes products more dynamic. Not just our own products, but don't forget we're putting batteries in drones. We're putting batteries
Oh,
in
thank you.
robots.
Thank you.
We're putting
Thank you.
batteries in medical devices. I mean, and again, we're putting batteries into things we can't even talk about.
So look, I'm so glad you just said that. Drones. Look, when you think electrification, there's electric bikes, there's electric drones, there's electric. I mean, the drone market for delivery and shipping and All of that stuff is growing. These are all growing markets. Robotics in
Haven't
general,
even started. Haven't
right?
even started.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are, you could provide, correct me if I'm wrong, but could you provide power to all those things? Drones,
Yes. Yeah.
robots,
Yeah.
right?
And we can do it without construction, without relying on the utility grid. We can do it in a way that allows you not to target the operators. We can extend their life. I mean, there's just there's so much that we can, and in fact already are bringing to this.
Right.
Where some of the stuff that we're putting our battery technology into is really fantastic. Very excited about that. I mean, look, it's 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 a great. This is a very exciting time. We're moving to an electrified time, and as I always say, we're also moving into an untethered electrified time, right? So before things were electric, you plugged them into the grid. You had to run you had maybe had an electric lawnmower or something. You had to have an extension cord behind you. Who does that anymore? You had a
Right.
drill motor. There was an extension. There was a wire plugged into the wall. Who does that anymore, right? Well, we make batteries that power those things. Well, they don't. They store the energy that powers those things, and then we make charging infrastructure that's rapidly deployed and highly scalable that powers a whole variety of different bits of equipment as well. That just doesn't seem like a bad place to be.
It doesn't. And when people start to really figure that out, I don't think your stock is going to stay where it's at. I understand everybody wants to see cash flow break even, everybody wants to see profitability. I think those things are coming, right? I can't
They
tell you
are. I
exactly.
want to see it too, and I'm working very hard to make sure that damn well happens.
Right.
And something. You said something to me earlier on, which is you have a good track record, but you're not always very good at predicting when it's going to happen. I can tell you something. I'm very similar where that's concerned. I will make this happen. I can't put a date on it right now, but I'm very confident that it will happen. Everything else I've ever promised. You brought up sponsorship, the new products, the international expansion, everything I've ever promised to people who have listened to me about this company, we've delivered on. And I'm telling you right now, profitability, cash flow, and all that's very much on our visible horizon. We, frankly, dare I say it, had we not had the setback, had we not lost the customers that we lost, like the federal customers that we lost, and all that sort of stuff, you don't need me to do this. You do a back of the napkin calculation, and what I think you will find in 2024 will be very interesting to you. Look at our gross margins that we're already announcing. Look at we second quarter gross margin 20%, non-GAAP gross margins over 30%. That's just taking out the non-cash stuff. It's not funny accounting or anything like that. It's just taking out non-cash stuff. So it's actually from a cash flow point of view more important. If you look at that and then you superimpose that on the revenues that we were getting from Army and stuff like that, you see that we bring in more gross margin than we spend. That's cash flow. Okay, so now I've got to do that without that input, but I'm bringing in all these other opportunities with international sales and new products and all that sort of stuff to get there as well. So this is not pie in the sky stuff. This is not hard to calculate. I don't need to take you through some incredibly complex accounting to get you there or anything like that. You know what it is? It's the same rule I tell everybody here. Make great products, sell them to great customers, do it again. Make great products, sell them to great customers, do it again. It's not actually that intellectually challenging to figure out what to do here.
And you've got some recurring revenue models that are starting to develop. I mean, you've got some. Look, I like the direction that the company is moving in. So it, I'm not going to sit there and say, Desmond, you have to have this. It is what it is. It's going to take time. If I didn't like the direction it was headed, I would say, I don't think this is a great plan. But tell me where this is a bad plan.
Yeah,
Explain to me where this is a bad plan. I don't
yeah,
see it. Right? It's just going to
yeah,
take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take. It will come. It will come. Scale will happen. So,
yeah.
uh, one
By the way, I'm bound to say to you, if it wasn't for politics, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now,
right.
because we wouldn't be saying it's going to happen. We would have been saying it's happened. I believe that.
If so, I guess the one question that I should ask, just because it would be proper. How are you on cash? Are you okay on cash? Do you need to do
I
financing?
have no debt. I have $100 million line of credit. People are always saying to me, this is another thing that'd be good to bring up because it drives me crazy. I have no debt. Okay, I have an incredibly low number of shares outstanding because I've been very careful with it. And I have $100 million line of credit priced at SOFR plus 300%. People are always saying to me, why doesn't he take money off the line of credit? Why doesn't he take money off the line of credit? Because I'm Scottish. Okay. When you take money off the line of credit, that is not free money. SOFR plus 300 basis points is still 7% as far as my arithmetic tells me. Okay.
Right.
So I mean, why would I do that? Take 10 million off that thing. Now I've got to put $700,000 against my P&L annually. Why would I do that? People want me to do that because they want me to have cash on the balance sheet. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, money, steel, copper, electronic, whatever I buy, those are all commodities. I try and get as much as I can, and I try and pay as little as possible for it. And by the way, I don't want to hold a lot of it in inventory, and cash is the same. So I'm fine on cash, and I have no going concern. And believe me, the auditors nowadays, they can't wait to give you a going concern, right? So you better be in good condition, otherwise you'd have a going concern. I don't have a going concern, and I have no debt, and I have plenty of cash.
Yeah.
So I like. And just the last thing I'll say on this, the last 10 years, people have been telling me you don't have enough cash, you're going to go bankrupt. I'm like, that's funny. Okay. I mean, when are you going to be right?
Right.
And yet we get better and better. We get more and more gross margin, and gross margin is cash. It's fantastic. Every time a product goes out the door, we get more cash than we spent to make the product. Okay.
You know what builds great generational companies? Challenges.
Sure.
Challenges are what build great companies because they
Sure.
find ways to overcome the challenges.
That's right.
Okay. And they get stronger, smarter, and better.
That's right.
If you ask me, is this company better than it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago?
Definitely. Definitely.
There's no doubt about it. In my mind, they're not even close to the same company, right?
No question about it. We're better than we were 6 months ago. And that better never end. That better never end. In fact, I just had my department heads meeting this week, and I told them, listen, I want things to be excellent, and this meeting will never not happen. I will always be saying that to you. Okay, we can do something slightly better. We can do this. We can do that. We can do that. And it'll never not. That meeting will never not happen. We will never arrive. Okay, we'll get better and better and better, but we will never arrive. You know, that's not. It's just not for us. And by the way, the thing about the challenges is like a ratchet. The great thing about challenges are when you overcome a challenge, like the ratchet clicks, you're not going back. That challenge will not get you again, right? Then you find the next one, click, not going back. Then you find the next one, you overcome it, click, not going back.
I love that. I love that analogy. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's what we've done. That is what we have done, and we're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
We're going to keep doing
it. We don't do this enough, because you have so many news announcements that we can't ever cover them all because we don't have enough time. But look,
I'll tell you what I want to do. If we can, next time I'm going to do one of these things live from one of these international environments that I'm in. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we're doing overseas.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean it.
Okay, man. All right. Thank you for making the time. If I didn't ask, a question that you wanted an answer to, send me an email and I'll try and get in touch with Desmond and get that out to you. But just keep rocking and rolling, Desmond. I mean, it is going to come together at some point.
I intend to.
Thank you for tuning in to another CEO interview here at Alpha Wolf Capital. Today we had Desmond Wheatley from Beem Global. I hope you enjoyed today's interview, and if you did, do us a favor. Give us a like. How about giving us a share? And while you're at it, make sure you smash that subscribe button. All of those things are extremely important to us here at Alpha Wolf Capital, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. Until next time, stay safe. Alpha Wolf Capital wishes you the very best of success.